what is up? Today we're taking a look at Master Grade W type for using with the Gundam F90. As usual, this video right here would not have been possible without those absolutely fantastic people over at BUYEE. So if you ever want some premium Bandai kits of your own, can't find them anywhere else, I guarantee you'll find them there. First off, a little bit about the build. This is pretty much exactly like we would have seen with the Bandai F90 line so far, so it is very high quality, but it does feel somewhat a little bit different to generic gunpla. And I guess the easiest way to describe it is it's a little more old school feeling with a modern day edge, I guess. The plastic feels a little bit tougher, rougher, and there's a lot more detail on the inner interior parts. When it comes to the actual build, the red does mark a little bit when you're cutting it out, so be very, very careful with that. But besides that, simple, quick, and pretty cool. So once this is complete, this is everything we get. So it's a bunch of parts to add on to a Master Grade Gundam F90 to make it into the Warbird type. We also have some vigorous effect parts in here. Now let's get them attached. So the last time we would have seen the Gundam F90 on here, it was a rocket and it blasted off into space and it was gone since. It has finally come back and it's exactly the same as however many months ago I did that video. So first off, we need to get this off. Pops off there, and then the back should come off. Leg. I'm gonna be completely honest, I do not remember how to get this off, so I'm completely winging it, but it seems right. And there we go, the Gundam F90 is finally freed from its rockety prison. Okay, just pop this on and, yeah, store this away. Okay, so in order to get this attached, first off, we need to whip off the backpack. We've got some shoulder segments that just pop onto the tops of the shoulders like that, and then like that. Honestly, that's already made the F90 look pretty cool, those big old pointy shoulders, but let's continue. Next up, we've got some landing gear style segments which attach onto the sides of the arms, giving it a little bit of a Gundam wing vibe. The second one then popping on to the other side like so. These landing gear segments are actually able to move down and forward like so, as well as you'd guess, as a pair of landing gears. We've got a pair of vernier units that attach into the sides of the legs. There is number 2 attached. Right there is what we've got going for us so far. And next up on the list are a pair of segments which attach right onto the front of the skirting armors. Next up, what we have in here is a pair of wings which have a whole bunch of articulation. We've got rotation there, a second batch of rotation right here, and the wings can move in and out like so. Next up, this segment down here is meant to pull out, but no matter what way I seem to grab it, it never seems to want to. Come on. Oh, I got it. That pulls out like so. So as for this unit, it attaches onto the butt flap, just like so. These bits grab on then, like that. And finally, then we have this backpack segment right here that just attaches onto the back where the backpack was, and that's everything. So jumping right on into the full 360 spin with this attached, so you can see it from every angle in case you want to decide whether or not you want this kit yourself. Now, what I'll say straight away is, the red plastic on this kit is not the greatest, which is a little bit of a letdown, considering how good the Master Grade Premium Bandai F90 line is. So that does mean it does look a little bit cheap to the eye, as well as being extremely glossy, and you can kind of see some folding throughout the plastic here and there. On top of that, this nubs up quite easily, so I do recommend taking a lot of care and maybe using a nano glass file while cleaning this up, or it will leave some nasty marks. But besides that, I love what this has done to the kit. The adding of all the red, to me, goes very nicely with the blue. The purplish grey on here matches with the inner frame of the F90, and the whole thing gives it a really spiky, angular look, which is pretty cool. So this does pack in a transformation, and before we actually take a look at that, let's see if this affects the articulation at all. But before we actually do that, I almost forgot to mention that you're able to take the beam saber handles off the standard F90 backpack, and we do have a pair of pegs just in here where you can attach those onto. So that is one right here, same as we would have seen before. And the other one right here, once again, identical to what we would have seen before. So they can move in like so, nice and neat. So when it comes to the Master Grade Gundam F90, this never really had the most over-the-top articulation to begin with. It's about basic. So after adding on all of this, it doesn't really get in the way of much. A little bit I'll mention in a second, but for the most part I find those wings round back, because they've made them so articulated, that means this thing can actually pose up pretty cool. So they can match with whatever kind of posing you're putting it in to add some extra dynamicness or implication of movement. That's pretty cool. Now the only thing that's kind of gotten a little worse is now we've got some chubbier front flaps here. So that means they don't raise up too well, so it might interfere with the kicks a little bit. But besides that, yeah, not too bad at all. Much better than the rocket for getting in the way. Whoop, I almost forgot to mention, before we actually get into the transformation, we do get some water slide decals in here. So for the most part, these are your regular style, caution, and marking style decals. There's nothing really in here that stands out too much besides the Warbird type and the W type decals. So let's get the bird in the Warbird here. We do have a kind of transformation in here. I haven't tried it out yet, but from what I can see, it's just a basic one, and there is no shield on the back of the head and no reversing of the limbs. Let's try it out. This flap right here folds back out like so, and then this whole segment folds up over the head. Ooh, move this and move that, and it folds up over the head like that. The flap section on the lower part of the nose then closes down over the face like so. The upper red segments of the shoulders then move up just like so. Same on both sides, and then they just clip in like so. Next up then we've got this little flip down segment which locks everything together so it won't be wiggling around on you. And then these wings just align down like this, and then like this, and then you just point the toes backwards like so. When this is transformed, then we have an action base adapter in here. So first off, we need to pop on the standard action base adapter first that came with the Gundam F90, and then we've got this adapter for posing it in flight. It attaches on between the legs there and comes around front like so. Then just grab yourself an action base like so, and you can slap it in just like that. So finally, there's what the Gundam F90 Warbird looks like in its, well, Warbird flight form. Honestly, I did not know what to expect from this particular kit, but this looks, I guess, okay. It's a very unique design without a doubt. Compared to a lot of flight forms we've seen out there, this is pretty basic. It looks like it would definitely work in space, but maybe not so much in atmosphere. The wingspan looks a little bit on the, well, narrow side, but we do have a little something extra in here to take a look at, so let's take a look at what sort of weapons the Warbird is packing. So just like we would have seen before, these segments of the wings can pull down with great effort, but they can pull down. That, of course, is the same on both sides. There we go, opened up. And now what we've got in here are these two super vigorous effect parts. Just look at the way those catch the light. These are cool. So these just attach into the wings where they opened up just like so. So there is number one, and then sliding in number two. Come on, get in there. Just like that right there. Pretty cool. So there we go. There are those beam wings attached. Now, the instructions here don't mention anything about the weapons whatsoever, so I'm not sure if these are for being used in an offensive kind of way or if they're just for flight, but either way, these look great. They've kind of made the wings look almost feathery in the way they're kind of exploding out, those kind of effects. This looks phenomenal. The way these catch the light is ridiculously impressive. I do have the LEDs in the back there cycling a bit so you can see just how they catch it. And this looks so nice. These have changed my opinion of this kit so much more towards the positive than they were already. These are a nice effect. So lastly, this kit right here is rocking a beam cannon in the nose. In order to deploy this, we do have to minorly untransform this so we can get inside to the kind of release mechanism. So this just flips back just like so. So the button for this is in here like that. If we push down on that, the beam cannon should pop out. There we go. This does involve a little bit more of a pull towards the back to get that out entirely. Then we can flip that down once more. Close it up, lock it into position, and there we go, there's the beam cannon. As for the movement this has, it does have up and down like so, a little limited, but it can shoot up and down. You can, of course, lock this back in, but I'm not going to because I think it's about time we saw what the Warbird like this looks like up on a shelf. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and this is another awesome little add-on pack for an awesome master grade. These are some wild, wacky ideas. We had a rocket, we had some long-range weapons, we had a whole bunch of things, and now we've got a transforming flight form for the Gundam F90. The Gundam F90 seems to be a mecha with a whole big bag of tricks. Just in case you don't know, there is a mission pack for every letter of the alphabet, of course that is A through Z. These are definitely wild, and if you want to try something very different to your normal master grade, I highly recommend giving these a go. The Gundam F90 and the Gundam F92 are very different master grades to what standard Bandai is releasing right now. And with all these option kits available, there's a whole lot to choose from. Anyway, if you do want some of your own, there's a link down there in the description. You can get yours through BUYEE. That is where I got mine. Thank you so much for watching, and of course, I will see you next time.